WNST is football season and that he can curtail some of his Dear Orioles letters that he's been reading of mine, as well as this off-season of cap strife where the biggest problem every day is the Stanley Cup in Minnesota or Ontario today. We welcome Dennis Koulatsos back on. He, of course, is out at Coons Ford Security Boulevard and will be with us on Thursday from 3 until 5, where he hosts the SSV on WNST, and we're all awaiting the next WNST text from Coons Ford Security Boulevard on Zach Britton and maybe Adam Jones and maybe Kevin Gausman to the Rockies. Boy, it's a high trade season, but I know you're a football guy, and this whole early training camp thing, Dennis, it worries me. It's like another week and a half where somebody can get hurt and 60 more minutes of football where somebody can get hurt.
Well, it looks like Coach Harbaugh, though, is using some caution. He's resting the veterans. He's pulling them off the field early. He knows what they can do. He has them doing more stretching exercises, and he's bringing them in slowly, which I like. And I definitely don't want to see a text from WNST in regards to the Ravens for any reason right now.
Is this Camp Cream Puff? Is that what Mike Preston would? Camp Cream Puff. Harbaugh's going soft on us. You know, I've had a soft tissue injury since 1987, right? You know, so here are these soft tissue injuries.
I don't know. Look, I've heard conflicting reports. I've heard that Brian Billick, Coach Billick, used to have harder practices. I heard a hit practice or Camp Cream Puff compared to Harbaugh. I have no idea. I know these days they get less time with full pads. Most of the time there were shells, just the pads and the shorts. But it's hard to say. I just want, this team has been so injured the last 4 or 5 seasons that no news is good news. Keep the guys healthy no matter what. But that extra preseason game, Nestor, does worry me. They get 5 instead of 4. They open up, of course, August 2nd against the Bears. Let me see Lamar Jackson running out there. I don't want to see Joe Flacco out there. We know what Joe Flacco can do, and by all means, he's healthy. He's moving better already than he has in years. The back injury is gone. The knee injury is gone. He looks fully recovered. If he's sharp coming out of the gate, this team's going to be hard to handle, against any opponent. I don't care who it is.
Give me your reaction to Joe's press conference. First off, I'm sorry I missed it. I wasn't there that day. I went the day before. I was supposed to go to the Saturday night practice downtown that got washed out. So, I've reacted to it, and I'm unabashedly, and I will be the guy on record as the Joe Flacco apologist. I love Joe Flacco. I've loved him from the minute I met him and his father. He's my kind of guy. I've always liked him before he won the Super Bowl, after he won the Super Bowl, when he's been on crutches, when he's not been on crutches. But this is my favorite Joe Flacco. The disrespected, you betting against me? And I've even sensed a little more bounce in your step in regard to your expectations of what you expect from him. For me, a lot of this is going to be about the offensive line and the wide receivers because I'm not worried about Joe Flacco having his end. If the running back runs the ball, if the blocking backs block, if the tight end's tight end, and if the wide receivers get open and catch the ball, if the offense does what an offense is supposed to do, which is 1st and 10 equals 2nd and 2 equals 1st and 10 equals 2nd and 4 equals, 3rd and 4 equals, whatever that is, whatever they scheme this thing up for, I don't think Joe Flacco is going to be the reason it fails.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now, on paper, the offense seems better, the receivers seem better, but Nestor, that's on paper. Will that translate on the field? We don't know, but I'm with you. I'm more concerned about the offensive line. Can they open up holes for the running backs? Can they keep Joe Flacco upright? His success, the success of this team this year will rely upon the health and the effectiveness of that offensive line. They still have guys out. They've got to get together as a unit. They've got to become cohesive, and that's what preseason is for. But if the big uglies up front can block for Joe Flacco and give him some time, Joe will do some good things with the ball, and the defense should be lights out. Again, on paper, they look good. And look, they're a year bigger, stronger, smarter, faster, right? The rookies from last year are not rookies anymore. Hopefully they can contribute, but like you, we've seen what Joe can do. When Joe's healthy and he gets time in that pocket, Joe can absolutely pick a defense apart. And look, the last couple of years, the Ravens have missed the playoffs, not because of the offense, but because of the defense's inability to get off of the field during critical times, 3rd and 4th down. They've got to come off the field this year, and hopefully Martindale can create some schemes, and the players can execute those schemes to get the team off the field.
He's Dennis Koulatsos. He's over at Coons Ford Security Boulevard. He'll be here on Thursday. We're all watching training camp and excited about all of this stuff. And I'll get back onto the field in a minute. And I want to bring this up with you because over the next week, people are going to be tuning in. You heard my Dear Orioles series. I have some letters coming for Zach Britton and for Adam Jones. And I don't know how much baseball I'm actually going to talk around here now that football has begun. And the Ray Lewis thing, over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be reaching out. And, I just looked through my phone right now, and I'll tell you the guests we're going to have here in the next 2 weeks. Phil Savage, Adam Terry, Dennis Pitta, Chris Chester, Dallas Thomas, Rod Woodson, Jarrett Johnson, Trevor Price, Gary Stills, Dwayne Starks, Pat Hill, John Ogden, Mike Flynn, Ernest Biner, Tony Saragusa, Peter Boulware, Will Demps, Mike Frederick, Joe Douglas, Anthony Weaver, Edwin Mulatalo, Donnie Brady, Billy Davis, and that's just what's Brian Billick. I forgot about him. These are just the people in my phone that I'm banging on to come on and say, tell me about Ray Lewis and what you know about Ray Lewis. And, man, I've got my own Ray Lewis story. And while I'm in the midst of writing all my Dear Oriole stuff, I think I owe Ray Lewis a letter. And I'm going to write a Dear Ray Lewis letter. I did the Ghost of Ray, past, present, and future about 7-8 years ago when he was still playing, about what his future would be. I don't know what tabernacle he's going to lead or choir he's going to lead or what he's going to do the rest of his life and the ESPN Monday night thing. He was never really good on television. I don't watch that trash on Fox Sports. I mean, I haven't watched 5 seconds of Colin, whatever his name is, and who's the goof from Dallas, Skip. I've never, ever, literally have never watched 5 seconds of any of that Kardashian sports radio. It's the opposite of what I do. Anybody that listens to 1570 or follows my tweets or follows the kind of cat I am and the kind of interviews we do around here. But the Ray Lewis thing for me, all these years into this, man, I remember the first time I ever spoke to Ray Lewis. It was after the Oakland Raider game. I walked into the locker room. I had a Raven helmet on. Matt Stover was giving me a hard time. And I went over to his locker, and he asked me to get cutters. Hey, buddy, can you help me get some cutters? And I got cutters, and I gave him, and I watched him cut the tape off of his spikes, which is something that I watch guys do every week, and I still do. At this point in my life, it's something that's so uniquely football about my experience with the football players being in the locker room. And I asked him if he would come out and do a radio show and if he'd ever had a crab or a crab cake, and he said he'd heard about them. And this is, you couldn't text back then or email. He gave me his phone number, and I called him. And, where are we going, buddy? The barn? Where's the barn now, buddy? Because he called everybody buddy. That was his thing, And I brought him out to the barn that Monday night. And, by the way, Dennis, I lost that tape. I have the tape of everything I've ever done in my career. That tape was on a blue Kmart tape. And it got lost somewhere when I moved in a briefcase because it was a special tape. It was the first interview I ever did with Ray Lewis, and it doesn't exist anymore. I've been looking for it for 15 years. I can't find it. You got
to find a briefcase. If you find a briefcase, you'll find the tape.
I think that briefcase is where Jules in Pulp Fiction. Remember when he opened the briefcase and the light came up? If I ever found that briefcase, that would be a moment. That, and if I ever get the tape of Mike Flynn and I in the parade, and that's an ongoing saga. I had the videotape of Mike Flynn and I on the Humvee in the 2001 parade, and I gave Flynn the tape, and he promised to copy it, and it's 2018, and it's become quite the inside joke of lost tapes. But the Ray Lewis I knew in 1996 as this humble kid who come out in a Coogee sweater, and he had his Marlin Barnes T-shirt on that he wore. That's my homie. That he always had on, that he sweat through in every game the first 5-6 years. I think he wore it Super Bowl Sunday as well in 01. I had a very close-up relationship with Ray Lewis. I don't know Ray Lewis anymore. Like, if I got in an elevator with him, I don't know if he'd speak to me. I really don't know that. I mean, I don't have his phone number. I don't have his email. Someone asked me this week if I was invited to his big party in Canton, and I'm like, Ray Lewis pretends he doesn't know me when he sees me. It's kind of a shame, but that's where I am with Ray Lewis on the every other player is in my phone, but Ray Lewis not so much. That's his decision, not mine. But I'm very grateful for all that Ray Lewis has done for my life and the bus trips we're taking next week and the fun we had and the Super Bowl ring I have in my safe and all that's become of this. It really is a time of reflection for anyone because we all have – my mom loved Ray Lewis, Dennis. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? I just wanted to ask you, how different was Ray Lewis post-Atlanta incident? What did you notice about him? How did that whole thing – obviously changed him, but
he was never the same. He was never the same guy again. Not to me.
Yeah.
I've never had the same – and I had his back. You know, I was the media guy that said, I don't think Ray Lewis murdered anyone. You know, I was saying that on national radio every day. You know, I was quoted in Sports Illustrated by Peter King at that time in my career. You know, and I wrote about that in Purple Rain 1. I wrote a whole chapter about Ray that – you know what? I'll share that chapter, Dennis. I'll Google that up, and I will reshare that chapter of what I wrote about Ray Lewis in March of 2001. I haven't read that in 15 years. It'd be interesting to go back and read that.
Yeah, the fascinating thing about him is just, you know, people in Baltimore look at Ray Lewis a whole lot differently, dramatically differently than people do all over the nation, right? You know, not just Ray, but the Ravens, how we're viewed as an organization, having Ray Lewis, having Ray Rice, you know, and what they went through.
Well, I'm going to put everything up. I mean, your first Ray Lewis story, wait, was he your favorite Raven? I mean, I remember those days at Memorial Stadium and my seats in Section 6, you know, over in the corner of the end zone, and the people I sat with and the girlfriend I had at that time in my life and my son and, you know, the size he was a little boy, you know, 12, 13, 14 at the time, and my Get Nasty van and where I parked and my signs, and I remember all of that. And I just remember at one point in 1997 being on the field, and I don't remember what game, but it was toward the end of the first, you know, the first close down or the second close down of Memorial Stadium, the Oilers year and all that. And I remember thinking, like, this guy's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Like, this guy is an otherworldly football player. And this is in 1997. I mean, I'm talking Memorial Stadium before they got to the new stadium. I thought, this guy's the best player in the league playing on a 4-12 football team, but he's making 22 tackles a week. He's in on every play. He kind of looks like the football player in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, right? Jefferson, right? He kind of looks like a beast playing with children, yet he's not physically bigger than everyone. He's just faster and stronger and smarter to the ball.
Well, he was also, you know, the reason why he lasted so late in the first round, he was an undersized linebacker, but he had the heart of a lion, and his work ethic, Nestor, and how he got the linebacker crew to set the tone for every squad, every unit during practice. That's what elevated the entire team. He was tireless, his film study. I mean, you talk about a perfect football player. In terms of what Ray Lewis did on the field, second to none. In my book, I'm not trying to be a homer, but to me, he's the best inside linebacker in NFL history, bar none.
Well, I mean, I'm talking to all the writers that voted on him as well, you know, that are on the committee every year. And, you know, I've already had Howard Balls run. And, look, I talked to all these guys back in January before the Super Bowl. I'm going to be doing a little best of around here as my wife and I escape on the backside of the Ray Lewis thing to play what Rod Woodson thinks, what John Ogden thinks when those guys have sat with me at Super Bowls, and we've sat for long stretches of time discussing Ray Lewis. And, look, we did that to some degree in the context, but I'll be honest, when the Super Bowl was going on, and I mean, his last game, his last play was the confetti, right? Like it was a magical ride out for him, but I don't know that we ever really spotlighted him other than the dance and the last dance for Ray against the Colts. But then we were on to the Broncos, and we were on to the Patriots, and we were on to winning the Super Bowl, and we could talk about Ray, but it wasn't about Ray. It was about how are we going to beat Tom Brady this week? How are we going to beat Colin Kaepernick? How are we going to win the Super Bowl here in the Harbaugh Bowl and all that? That a lot of it did get lost in all of that. And these are going to be the 2 weeks that we are going to look back and say, oh, my God, what a football player he was. What an incredible gift to the franchise, the city, to the community, the football, to everything the Ravens represent, and the complexity of Atlanta for him, and the complexity of his life and his children and his God and his post-career and his community work and him being feet on the street after the riots. And, I don't know what the rest of the world's going to bring for Ray Lewis, but it's not going to bring him doing the squirrel dance out of the tunnel again. That's history. Now I don't know what the future is for him, but I do know this is a special thing we're going to witness next Saturday. And I'm kind of getting ramped up even talking about it because I've sold trips and all that. But what is going to happen next Saturday in Canton, and the stories and the emotions, and my mother not being with me anymore, and the Colts not being with us anymore, and what it's represented for my life, my career, the radio station we're on right now. Our 20th anniversary falls in the same week, really in the same 24-hour period as the Ray Lewis speech. I got a lot on my mind too, and Ray Lewis was a gift to this city in a lot of ways, for the better and for the good, the bad, and the ugly. But it changed our city. There's no doubt about that.
Well, Nestor, it was a storybook ending to a storied career. I mean, look, he during the playoffs, he announces, "This is my last ride," right? He puts the team on his back. And I think that second ring is so important. There's a lot of guys in the NFL with 0 rings or 1 ring. But, man, when you get that second ring, right, it just solidifies your legacy. I think that's partly why Terrell Suggs is still playing at such a high level, because I think he recognizes if he wants to be a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer, that second ring goes a long way to that end, right? Because a lot of guys have 1, but I mean, I see Torrey Smith now on social media. He flashes both rings, both his Ravens and his Eagles ring, because it's important to have that second ring, and to do it in the very last game you play, and you played in an historic goal line stand against the 49ers. I mean, come on. It's a movie, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a movie, and we've been a part of the movie, and now we get to go, celebrate that on a Saturday night in Canton, Ohio. So I'm excited about it. I got a little room on the bus if you want to come out. I mean, this is, you're not going to get a whole lot of opportunities to watch Ray Lewis go into the Hall of Fame. So, think about it, as they say. I have a handful of seats left. I got a couple of extra rooms. The rooms are really what's at a premium out there. And, of course, we're doing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We're doing the Indians game. It's Rock and Blast night on Friday night. I think they have rock and roll fireworks at the Indians game. So we're going to be doing it up big time out in the friendly heart of the Midwest next weekend.
Well, it sounds awesome, and I just can't wait for his Hall of Fame speech. I enjoy the Hall of Fame. I have friends up there, in the organization, the Hall of Fame, and Jim Vienna's, a couple of other guys, and met Rod Woodson through them, and John Riggins. But I look forward to the speeches, because the players have a very long time to really think about what they're going to say. The people they invite, their high school coaches, college coaches, people that have been important in their lives. I'm sure Coach Billick will be there, but I'm really looking forward to see what Ray has to say about his Hall of Fame career.
All right, well, I will get a Dear Ray Lewis letter out, and literally, Dennis, while we're talking, which is so therapeutic, it's always, you're the Dr. Melfi of my programming around here. You and Billy Cole. My sponsors keep me sane, But I have unearthed the piece. The last time I released this piece online, Dennis, was October the 23rd, 2010. And I released it as a prelude to a 3-part series I did on the past, present, and future of Ray Lewis that I wrote in October of 2010. So I'm going to release my Chapter 4 from the original Birds and the Mean Machine and Purple Rain 1. So you can go read that online. I'll have that out on Twitter, okay?
And the one thing for sure, Nestor, it's a lot more fun talking about the Ravens than it is the Orioles. That's for sure.
Well, that WNST text is coming from Coons Florida Security Boulevard, I assure you. The Zach Britton. I don't know about Adam Jones, but Zach Britton. My letters to Zach Britton and dear Adam Jones and dear Buck Showalter and Dan Duque, they're all written. I'm sort of piecing them together, right? Like the Zach Britton thing, I woke up Sunday morning and I'm like, oh my God, they might deal him by sunset. I better get his letter ready. So I wrote his letter on Sunday. The Adam Jones thing, Adam Jones is a special Oriole, so I'm trying to make it a special letter. And I wrote a whole book for him. The Peter Principles was really written for him. He came up to me in New York and said to me, why does Peter hate you so much? He literally asked me that on the field at Citi Field. And he wanted an answer in like 2 minutes. He was playing catch. Literally, I was standing, outside the dugout. And he's like, hey, man, I'm serious, man. Like, I want to know. Like, why does Peter hate you so much? Tell me. And I'm like, dude, you're playing catch. I have 2.5 minutes. No, man. No, seriously, tell me. That's what he said. He said, I'm not playing you. I really want to know. And I'm like, how do I tell you this in 2.5 minutes, dude?
Right.
So I wrote him a book. So next week I'm writing him a Dear Orioles letter. So Dennis, hang in. What's going on at Coons Ford? Everything good out there? Summertime?
You know what? I've been trying to become a fan of the Orioles. I've been trying to jump on the bandwagon, Nestor, but they make it very hard for a guy like myself who's trying to engage and connect with the team to engage and connect with the team.
I don't know what to say.
And that's another subject for another day.
Well,
I'm trying to love the baseball team. I'm trying to love baseball. I've been having a very hard time doing it for all of your letters, all the stuff that you talk about. I'm trying to become a fan, to contribute to the team.
I'm waiting for my phone to ring. I don't know if my Dear Orioles letters are taken in the spirit they're intended, that if John and Louis Angelos read my letters, they should reach to me or reach to someone like me or reach to you. Or we are the people they need. I don't – there's no one left. I was down in Washington last week, and I know I discussed that with you at the All-Star game, and I've discussed it at length with Marty Conway. I think we're going to lose the Orioles. And that's not me just being blasphemous and saying stupid stuff on the radio 25 years into this. I really believe if I live long enough, this city is going to struggle to keep the baseball team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And the reason they're going to struggle is because people like you and I who want to love the team are felt to not love the team. I don't know what else to say. I live 2 blocks away, and I want to go, but they don't give me any reason to reach in my pocket, to reach in my heart, to reach in my wallet, and certainly they owe me an apology, but that's, it's beside the point, above and beyond everything over the last 15 years, but they owe the customers a better experience and a better product and a more transparent experience. And that's a universally held belief. That's not a Nestor held belief, Well,
let me ask this, Nestor. I've got 170-plus employees, right? So what would it cost them to send me 1,300 tickets so I can take all my employees there one night? We'll all want to buy food and drinks and everything else and just have one big party, right? But, what would it cost them? They're not making money anyway. They have all those empty seats, right? So to me, there's zero revenue generated for every empty seat in that stadium. So why wouldn't they reach out to organizations? Here's 100, 500,000, 2,000 tickets. Bring us your people. What would it cost them, Nestor?
Dennis, that would be unfair to our stakeholders and our Orange Plan holders. Well, Dennis, would you sell me a car for less than you sold it to someone else? I can hear that argument. I can hear that argument.
It happens. But my point is, when you like
I get on an airplane, I paid $49. Poor SOB next to me paid $349 because he bought it last night.
It's the way it
I'm
goes.
sleeping in room 309 in a hotel. I paid $49. The guy in 311 next to me, he paid $189,
Right. It is what it is. All I'm saying is if you want to engage a community, there's a lot of things you can do instead of sitting your hand doing nothing and no vision, no plan.
Well, they're not doing nothing. They're trading away baseball players.
Okay. Good baseball players. All right. Coons Baltimore 4. Let's talk about something positive here. We don't have that problem. We have people flying in from all over the country to buy our vehicles because we take care of.
You're the Manny Machado of the West Side.
Hey, you know what? It is what it is. We give great value for their money. We're here after the fact. We are involved in the community, and we make great things happen. We even when it rains, it's liquid sunshine to us. People are at home shopping on the web. They see the deals. They call and ask 2 things: is it there? And could I really buy it for that price? And if it's here, it's here. If it's not, we can get them another one just like it. But and the price is always right, and the service is always right. So right now, great time. We're clearing the deck of 2018s. 2019s are coming in, Nestor.
When's that happen? Already?
What year was the first car you bought? What year was it? Or you owned? Was it 70, 78, 79?
I owned, and I'm not proud of this, I owned a 1977 Caprice Classic wagon that was split pea green with the blonde paneling down the side. It had a hole in the back. I used to drive it to Geneseo, New York to see my girlfriend. And I think I bought it for $700 from a guy out on Bel Air Road, like Bel Air and Frankfurt Avenue, a lovely part of Baltimore.
Was it a V8? A V8? big V8?
It was a big old V8. I think it got 9 miles in the city and 12 on the highway.
You had a barge. It wasn't even a boat. It was a barge. We've come a long way since then, haven't we?
And it had Corinthian leather, as I remember it.
Corinthian leather. There you go. But the bronze paneling, that would set the car off back then. You talk about a great accent. Can't buy them like that anymore.
I think they resurrected it when they remade the Brady Bunch as a camp, as an Onion episode. I think they used my vehicle, the 77 Caprice Classic paneled green split P thing.
Oh, my gosh. It's crazy. But, hey, we've come a long way from that to now spaceships. They almost drive themselves, and pretty soon I think they'll be coming off the ground. I think that's the next step as technology moves forward very, very fast.
All right, well, the next step is keeping everybody healthy out there during this extended training camp. We'll get everybody out to Coons Ford Security Boulevard, and when the Orioles make these deals, they'll, of course, be brought to you on our tech service by Coons Ford Security Boulevard. Dennis will be here on Thursday from 3 until 5. It is the SSV on WNST. Keep the faith, Dennis. He's the SSV on WNST as well on Twitter. You can find me anytime, anywhere. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.